Nehemiah, overcoming opposition to rebuilding the walls. Despite being mocked by their enemies, the builders set to work rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Each family or group repaired a section of the wall. Eliashib the high priest and his fellow priests went to work and rebuilt the sheep gate. Levites and priests joined in the work. People from the surrounding towns and villages joined in to help. When Sanballat got news the rebuilding was making progress, he was furious. In front of the army of Samira he mocked the workers. What are those feeble Jews doing? Will they restore their wall? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish in a day? Can they bring the stones back to life from those heaps of rubble, burned as they are? Tobiah the Ammonite, standing next to him, replied, What they are building, even a fox climbing up on it would break down their wall of stones. But the builders continued working on the walls. When Sanballat, Tobiah, the Arabs, the Ammonites and the people of Ashdod heard that the gaps in the walls were being closed, they plotted to attack Jerusalem. The Jews prayed to God and posted a guard day and night to protect the wall. Nehemiah faced further problems. The builders started complaining they were exhausted and the task was too much for them. Others warned Nehemiah that their enemies were planning to end the project. Nehemiah stationed armed men with swords, spears and bows in the gaps in the walls. A trumpeter stood by Nehemiah ready to sound the alarm at the sight of trouble. Don't be afraid of them, Nehemiah said. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, will fight for you. From that point, one half of the men did the work while the other half stood guard with swords, spears, bows and armor. Work continued from dawn until sunset as Nehemiah reminded them, Our God will fight for us. Suddenly there was another problem. Some of the Jews who were poor had borrowed from those who were rich to pay their taxes. The rich Jews then demanded repayment plus interest. Those who couldn't pay had their lands taken away and their children made into slaves. There was an uproar and many could not afford to buy grain. Nehemiah became angry and called a meeting. He shamed the rich nobles and officials by saying, You are charging your own people interest. At first the rich moneylenders kept quiet but then relented. We will give it back, they said. And we will not demand anything more from them. We will do as you say. Nehemiah then summoned the priests and made the nobles and officials take an oath to do what they had promised. Everyone at the meeting said, Amen, and praised the Lord. Work continued until all the gaps in the wall had been filled and the gates were built and fitted. Sanballat and Geshem then sent Nehemiah a message that read, Meet us in one of the villages on the plain of Ono. Their plan was to get Nehemiah away from Jerusalem so they could assassinate him. Nehemiah replied, I am busy on a great project. Why should the work stop so that I can visit you? They sent the same message to Nehemiah 3 times but he refused to leave Jerusalem. Then they sent a letter accusing him of planning to rebel against the king of the Medes and Persians. That is not true, Nehemiah replied. He then prayed to God to strengthen his hands. But Tobiah and Sanballat did not give up and hired a man in Jerusalem called Shemaiah to discredit Nehemiah. He warned Nehemiah there was a plot to kill him, but that he had a plan to save him. He suggested Nehemiah hide in the temple. Nobody would think of looking for him there as only the priests were allowed inside. Nehemiah knew it was wrong to enter the temple. Should I run away or should I hide to save my life, he said. I will not go inside, he insisted. I will continue the work on the project. 52 days later, after the rebuilding of the wall started, the project was finished. Those who had opposed the project were afraid, because they knew the work had been done with the help of God. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Share and leave a comment. Subscribe.